Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth in Pretoria, South Africa, and it's going to be a quick one because data's too expensive and finding Wi-Fi is difficult. Well, the first thing was flying, so I managed to fly okay, and I wrote a poem about it called I Used to Be, and it amazed me the difference, how you can change. I know I listened to like hypnotherapy things, and since I've changed with, having twins and the stuff I've learned on YouTube and all that reinforced the things I already knew. But I'm a different person, and it's physically as well, because when I used to go on the plane, I used to feel like the lift, I'd feel it coming down, I'd feel all those things. Yeah, I did have a natural fear of, a few times. I have to stop myself and thinking about it. But I was watching out the window, I'll post it sometime, as the plane turned, and I was watching it. Before, I would never be able to do that. So it's interesting how you can adapt or change yourself, or the way you are might not necessarily be the way you can be. So the other things I found out when I've been to South Africa, obviously the things I already knew, is they still have issues with segregation, with races. There was a recent incident when the school term started, and there was a photograph that I think a teacher had taken, and it showed that black kids were put to one side and the other kids were, so they segregate them by tables. Still in this day and age, in South Africa where they've had apartheid, you'd think, this issue would have been sorted out, but still not. And it doesn't give great hope for humanity that we still cling on to these false man-made constructs of race, because we're all the same, we're all human beings. It's interesting, Jeremy Corbyn actually, in his I saw on Sky News, which you can get over here, and he actually mentioned that, about immigration and that stuff, and that we're all human beings. I don't know whether politicians ever mentioned that before. So maybe the mindset of people is starting to change, and we're starting to what people are starting to realise, that a lot of the things that we believe are constructs. I think the problem is that until people believe that, until we understand that a lot of the things that we actually believe, where it comes to beauty, when it comes to us being categorized by the color of our skin, all these other things, the things that we take for granted in life we don't think about, until we establish that those are actually man-made constructs, that, and they've changed through time. Things have changed through time. If you look back 100 years ago, what people believed, and look now, if you look 100 years time, it's all going to be different. So that just proves the point that a lot of what we believe is fluid, is not finite, is not fact, is not truth. But until we all understand all that, we're going to cling on to these things and not even know that we're clinging on to things that are constructs that are just made up. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I noticed. That was the main thing. Obviously there's poverty as well, the segregation, the different, if you go to different places you find different poverty, and in this day and age where we live on a planet that we call Earth, that's not the real name of it, but we still live in this way that we don't look out for each other. Things that go on that no one knows about, people living in terrible conditions that they shouldn't be living in this day and age, where this planet could sustain every single person. It could give every single person a house, every single person food, every single day, every single person medicine. But we choose to segregate ourselves like we do into countries that are just made up anyway. And we live like that, so people suffer and die because of the choices that have been made before us that we've just adopted. But until, like I say, until we think about these things, until we realise that most of the things that we believe, to do with our identity, to do with who we are, to do with where we live, to do with how we live, until we realise that these are all constructs, and until we're willing to change them, and willing to live as we should do as one species, working together, until we adopt that, which I don't know if that's even possible, because people want to hold on to these things and they don't realise that they're holding on to these things that are holding them back and holding everyone else back. Until that, we're always going to live like this. which is a shame, and it just saddens me that we haven't evolved to that status, that we don't realise that, because we see ourselves as civilised and intellectual, but most people don't realise these things. Anyway, take care, take it easy, God bless, and peace.